Hey, welcome to the Reddit time. What is the stupidest way you've injured yourself? Today I'll tell you about some funny or maybe not stories. Let's start. When I was a kid, we had blue carpet in the living room. I had just watched some movie or show where the characters jumped into a painting and I started thinking maybe if I believed really hard, the blue carpet would turn into a vast ocean. So I climbed up on the recliner and swung down into the floor. I can hear the narrator's voice going, "Blue carpets do not in fact turn into vast oceans," as little author of the story was about to find out. I'm a welder. I work with really hot steel parts constantly, but I regularly burn myself on the microwave meals I eat for lunch. I don't understand how microwave meals survive the cooking process. My leftovers go in for 1 minute and 30 seconds and it sounds like a Second World War airstrike is popping off. Microwave meals tell you to put that shit in for 3 minutes, stir, then back in for another 100 years and they come out fine? Dark magics. Laughing my ass off. Once put in hot dogs with water. Big fucking mistake. Spilled on my arm after taking it out. I had ice in the fridge so it wasn't too bad. One of the biggest microwave cock punches has to be coffee mugs that don't say on the bottom if they are microwave safe. Drink hot tea lying down. The first thing you learn in British school is to never drink tea lying down. Shot myself in the eye with a Nerf gun. I looked into the barrel to see if it was loaded. I was 8. Sounds like a supervillain backstory. And that's how I became Bozo, the one-eyed moron. Riding my bike home in 5th grade slowly alongside my walking friend. Friend, Drew, look where you're going. Drew, no dude, I'm good at biking. I can do it with my eyes closed. Friend, no really dude, look out. Drew, no man, I'm good. Instantly crashes into a parked car, mess up my bike chain, have to drag my bike home in shame and explain to my mom why my knee and lip are bleeding. My friends saw a jellyfish on the beach and kicked it. Like on purpose and knowing what it was. They had to go to their emergency room. The level of badass of that jellyfish is through the roof. You're washed up on the shore, so you're in the enemy's territory. It's hot, you're straight up melting, you have no legs or arms to fight back, and yet you do. You poison that little brat straight into the emergency room. What a legend. Thought I could walk my dog on a leash while riding my bike. Dog saw a squirrel and yanked me off my bike. I broke a few bones in my hand. Dog was like, "What did you expect would happen?" This reminds me of when we first got our dog and it was my 10 years old's turn to take the dog out into the yard on the leash. But my daughter quickly got bored and wanted to climb a tree. She tied the dog's leash to a long jump rope, to another, and climbed. Edit to add, she tied the end of the line of ropes to her waist and climbed. My husband pulled into the driveway in the car. Puppy wildly dashes towards him at full speed. Kid flew out of the top of the tree, landed halfway across the yard and was dragged the rest of the way. Puppy never broke stride. To try to get a cheap laugh out of my ex, I threw a hammer as hard as I could at a tree. The hammer bounced off the tree and it turned just in time for it to hit me in the small of my back. Miracle I'm not paralyzed. Thank goodness you weren't throwing an axe. I had no idea a hammer could or would even bounce off a tree. I thought it would just hit and drop to the ground. Didn't think it'd ricochet right back at my back. It didn't. That tree threw it right back. The person you were trying to impress saw the tree throw it, but couldn't say anything because who would believe that? I dropped something behind my couch, leaned over the back to pick it up and cracked a rib. Was in pain for a week. Getting all this hell. Bartender here. Reached a little extra to wipe the bar for new guests on a busy night. Popped a rib. 6 weeks later, still hurts a bit if I sleep on it. Kicker was, I then adjusted my breathing because of the pain so my diaphragm became irritated. I adjusted again and then my abs started to hurt. Adjusted again and now it's diaphragm, abs and obliques. That was the longest weekend of my life. I honestly thought I was dying that Saturday. But I didn't have a fever so I figured it was a bizarre injury. Which it was. Like I said, still hurts if I do it wrong, but the muscle pain is gone. Bending over to pick a paper bag. A completely empty paper grocery store bag. It was standing upright, not even laying on the floor. I barely had to even bend down to pick it up. Somehow this triggered a cosmic alignment between two vertebrae and nerve cluster because suddenly I felt at the floor in crippling pain. Couldn't get my back straight and had to crawl to the living room so I could lay on the carpeted floor and try to stretch it out. I ended up up like this for days and had to have physical therapy to slowly work out the pinched nerve. I was basically walking like Quasimodo for a couple weeks. People would assume I was in an accident or lifting some boulder like Hercules or saving a child pinned under a car, but nope. I wasn't done by an empty paper bag. Oh, I feel you. I have done this twice. The first time I lifted my foot to put a sock on and immediately found myself on the floor in the worst pain I've ever felt. I spent a good 3 weeks hobbling around hunched over, barely able to move. Second, I bent over to pick my cat up. Same thing, ended up on the floor, except this time on top of a really pissed off cat. Luckily, I was good in about a week from that one. I live in Minnesota, so I'm used to kicking snow off my boots by slamming my two parts of the boot down on the ground. Well, it was summer, and I happened to get my running shoes absolutely covered in mud, so I instinctively slammed my toes down on the pavement and broke my toes. Holy fuck! I get that running shoes don't exactly have the same structural support as a winter boot, but damn son. How much force did you pack into that stomp? About 4 toes worth. Punch myself in the teeth while trying to fuck around with my sleeves. I don't know how it happens, but it happens often. Haven't punched, smacked, squeezed it, bruised my teeth since they grew in. I'm pretty sure they are their own entities. Yes, I spelled it that way on purpose. Throw a grape in the air to catch it in my mouth. It fell on the floor and I bent down to pick it up and smashed my face into the windowsill. That actually made me laugh, sorry. Walked onto a manhole cover that wasn't placed on correctly. Ended up in the hospital and had to have 3 surgeries over 4 months. Tragedy is when I cut my finger. Comedy is when you fall into an open sewer and die. Mel Brooks. Rode a bike with no shoes and no brakes. Stopping me with my foot out of habit and skinned the entire top of my foot. I broke a rib by coughing too hard. I'm just getting over the flu. Did the same thing. I have so many responses to this, my goodness me. Tore a tendon in my finger when tearing a single sheet of paper. Knocked myself out by bumping my head whilst on the Eiffel Tower. Fell off the bed and sprained my ankle whilst trying to remove a mouse from my brother's room. Broke my knuckle when I banged my hand against the door accidentally whilst dancing. The list is endless. When I was a kid, maybe 10 or so, I had recently discovered that the feet on my prosthetics could be unscrewed and moved into different positions. So I borrowed an Allen key from my dad and took it to school so I could unscrew my feet and show my friends at recess. None of them were as blown away by this as I'd hoped. Pretty sure they were just used to this kind of thing by now. Anyway, the bell went to tell us to go back to class, and I very quickly tightened the feet back onto the prosthetics, put my shoes back on and started making my way back to class. As I was walking with a group of my classmates, I started to notice my legs felt wobbly. I looked down and with every step my feet were turning outwards slightly. A normal person would have come to the conclusion, oh, I didn't tighten the screws up enough, but not me. I jumped to the conclusion of, holy shit, I can control my feet like a robot. My excitement quickly turned to dread when I realized I don't know how to control feet. Been an amputee since I was a baby, and they kept turning until one was pointing sideways. Despite this, I kept trying to walk, and after a few more steps the foot just fell off and I managed to slam the now footless prosthetic down, which jarred my knee and hips and caused me to slip over and face plant into the corner of a cement mini wall, one of those waist-high walls. Being a self-respecting 10-year-old, I started bawling my eyes out, which caught the attention of the new teacher. It's her first day and the only disabled student is in pieces. The foot got thrown backwards when it fell off, with a bloodied nose, screaming like a banshee. She didn't really know what to do since I couldn't get back up, so she gave me some tissues for my nose and made a very confused call to the maintenance man asking if he knows how to fix prosthetics so I can get to the school nurse. I'm so sorry for your embarrassment and pain, but I can't stop giggling over this. As another amputee, we don't care if you laugh after the fact. I've literally had my leg fly off me during a soccer game. I was laughing hysterically as soon as it happened, and everyone was just staring at me like, what the fuck do I do? Good times. Oh boy, my time to shine. Age 2. Stuck a nail in an electrical socket. 3. Ran into a telephone pole while riding my bicycle. Age 7. Was playing with a razor blade that my dog had pulled out of the trash and completely sliced off the tip of my finger. Promptly passed out and was found hours later by my mom coming home from night shift. Please don't ask why. I was 7 and very impulsive. 16. Had wisdom teeth out. Apparently anesthesia stays in my system longer than normal. A few days go by and I'm sitting in the dining room talking to my mom. Everything starts going black and I manage to utter woohoo before smashing jaw first onto the tile floor. One side of my face was swollen. I looked a bit like chipmunk. 18. Went to grab something out of the trunk of my car. My car was parked in the driveway, which is at a bit of a slope. reached in to grab something, which I have done many times before with the car parked exactly like it was, and trunk slammed down onto the back of my head. Nice little gush, lots of blood. I managed to make it inside before passing out that time. 20. Cleaning kitchen. Got to drain the water after washing dishes, and the sink strainer is stuck, really stuck. I'm trying to pull it out with brute strength and managed to slice my hand open on it instead. This time I puked instead of fully losing consciousness. 29. Decide to be Betty Crocker and bake homemade bread. The Pyrex either shattered when I took it out of the oven and it hit cold air, or I dropped it. It happened rather quickly, so I'm not exactly sure, but I ended up with glass in my foot. I've just moved here, I know very few people, and my spouse is gone out of town for work. I have 2 small children and 3 big dogs running around the house. Glass literally from the front door to the back door. Managed to get a hold of a neighbor who takes me to the emergency room where they attempt to remove it. Notice I said attempt. They sent me home with glass in my foot and told me to contact a podiatrist. They were sure it was stuck in bone or a ligament. I had glass in my foot for 20 hours total. 3 stitches, 3 weeks in a boot. Not fun times. I now wear house shoes in the kitchen. 30. Walking across the playground. No holes in the ground, just a normal wood chip covered playground surface. And managed to fracture a bone spur on the top of my foot, requiring surgery months later. Luckily, I already had a podiatrist. Thank you for watching this video, we appreciate it a lot. If you have what to tell us about your stupid injuries, we would like to see them in the comments down below. Also subscribe to our channel, give us a big thumbs up, and see you in the next video.